What's up, everybody? Welcome to the second installment of my Burning Man bench design video. Um, in case you uh, in case you don't know what you didn't see the previous episode, this is the bench that I designed in the previous episode. Basically, 95% complete on the design. There's only a couple little details yet that I haven't addressed. But I'm going to focus this video on creating a cut layout. So this bench is designed to be cut from 3/4 inch plywood, and I'll actually show you really quick here in just a second. I'll show you what the plywood is I'm going to be using. Um, and yeah, it's cut from 3/4 inch plywood. This video is literally just how do I take this bench. This bench that I designed to cut 4 of them out of a sheet of plywood. And how do I lay it out to cut it out on a router? My original intention was to also do the toolpaths in this video, but it ended up taking a whole hour to do the layout itself. So I ran out of time to do the routing part of it, the G-code part of it, and so you'll hear me say some references in this video about kind of selecting the tool and kind of overviewing some of those details that actually I'm gonna take that out because that really is better suited to the next video. So I'm re-recording this intro and then I'm gonna review that stuff in more detail in the tool path and the CAM side of things. So again, this is CAD, this is computer aided design. And the next video is going to be CAM, which is computer-aided manufacturing. That's all the G-code to tell the router what to do. This is sort of a middle step. This is a step where you have your design and you're like, okay, I want to cut it out of plywood. How do I lay it out on plywood? So this is going over all of that. And, you know, who knew? It takes a whole hour. It takes a whole hour to figure it out. I had a little bit of sticky points with working with Fusion. So anybody who's a Fusion expert, please leave comments below of maybe tips and tricks that you have. I was able to kind of get through it, but I think there's almost certainly has to be a more elegant way to do it in Fusion that I just don't know about. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to jump over real quick to my my browser here. No, not that one. I'm going to jump over to, yeah, just I guess my main display, and we're going to go over the the plywood. So what you're going to use, or what I prefer to use, is I prefer to use this sort of, this is the Baltic birch that I like to use. This is a really nice, really high quality plywood. And you can tell that it's the right stuff basically because it has a lot of these tiny little thin layers. I think there's 13 layers here, 12 or 13, something like that. So this is, it's expensive, obviously. It's 150 bucks. When I bought it in the past, when I first started working with this stuff maybe 7 or 8 years ago, it was 75 bucks a sheet, which was pretty expensive even at the time, but now it's even double the price. So this is what I tend to use when I'm making really high quality furniture. It's hardwood all the way through. You can also use stuff that looks a little bit more like this. You can tell the layers are thicker here. There's fewer of them. Just 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, yeah, so 8 basically, 8 or 9 if you count the top veneer layer. So this is a cheaper, it'll still work pretty well. You can see it's less than half the price. It's listed at $64 right now here on my screen. But it's a softwood core, I believe, so it's not as strong. It's not as durable. It's not really outdoor worthy. The Baltic birch is technically an outdoor grade wood, but the top veneer does get pretty rough if you don't have a really durable outside and like outdoor finish. So I don't know if you want to use it for that or not. This one, indoor only. Also, it's really easy to have the top layer kind of tear off when you're cutting it or when you're working with it. So I don't really use it for finished, like high quality stuff. I really only use this for like a really, really simple, cheap, like I just need a piece of furniture. It'll last years. It's not like it's a bad option. It's just cheap and it looks cheap and it feels cheap and it's just difficult to work with to get it to like look really nice. So you know, your mileage may vary. It really depends on the application. If you want to prototype something, this is great. This is a great product to prototype it with because it is flat. And, you know, unlike some other cheaper like OSB or stuff like that, which can come in kind of warped. Okay, so yeah, I'm not going to spend too much more time on that right now. I highly recommend this wood for your finished product. It's a really nice thing. The one thing about Baltic birch right now is if you're, you know, not wanting to buy stuff from Russia, it's possible that the Baltic birch is a product of Russia. So just keep that in mind. All right, so so again, without further ado, I'm going to jump right into doing the layout. And like I said earlier, there's some references to tooling that I actually took out of the intro of this video because it's more appropriate to be in the next video. So so yeah, stay tuned for that. There will be a link to the other videos in the description and a link to this birch. I'll put it in there. I use Amazon affiliate links. I would not buy plywood from Amazon. Maybe if you just need a small piece, it's maybe fine, but I like to buy plywood from the local hardwood stores. You know, there's at least 2 hardwood stores local to me that carry this birch plywood. Any sort of nicer, you know, specialty purpose hardwood store should have this, or at least they should know where to get it. So yeah, without further ado, let's jump into doing the cut layout. All right, let's go. All right, so here we are over at the back in Fusion. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to, my goal here is my goal is to cut 4 of these benches out of a sheet of plywood. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start by showing you guys how I lay out parts. So so I'm going to start with just doing a new design. And I'm going to just do a sketch here on the this plane. And then what I like to do is I like to pull up a let's see, rectangle, center rectangle, and just create a sheet of plywood. So we can call this 8 feet, and if you type in the units, it'll just put it in there. And then 4 feet. So there it is. This is our sheet of plywood. It can be helpful to extrude this into a solid if you want. Just call it 0.75 inches. Boom, there's our sheet of plywood. Now we can just save it, call it plywood. Actually, I like to call it 4x8 plywood. And then there it is. Now, what we can do is we can pull up our parts here and we just drag them in. You know, again, Fusion's a little weird in the sense that it's, I created that as a part, but now I'm creating an assembly. So actually, you can do it like this, but maybe you don't want to. And I actually prefer to do it the other way. This is sort of how Fusion is set up, but then we have all these kind of weird derived parts, and I don't like having derived parts because they just feel a little bit messier to work with. So I'm actually going to do a new design. And I'm going to save this design immediately. I'm going to call it cut layout. All right, so all right, so then the plywood goes in, and we just say okay, and then we right click and we ground it. So now the plywood is locked in space. Then we put on this bench top. Now I'm going to do something a little different with the constraints. So I'm going to do a joint, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to do this, instead of a rigid, it's going to be, I think, a slider. Because all I really want is I want this face on this face, And why? What is it? All right, so hover over face and edge, press Control or Command to lock the joint. Okay. Oh, you know, I think actually maybe slider. Oh. Hmm. No, we want planar. Sure. Yeah, let's call that. That's good. Yeah, planar, because planar allows it to go in all degrees of freedom. Slider would lock it to move along an axis, kind of like a rail. Okay, so then we just throw this guy right here. And then I think we're going to need this one next. And we'll just say OK. And then we'll do the joint. We'll go just anywhere on that face. And then here. And we want to flip it. Okay. Now this one, what I'm going to do is I'm going to move and I'm going to rotate this. It's got to be a component because we already brought it in. And sure, axis, whatever, any axis is fine. Make sure we do 90 degrees. Now the reason I use the move command is just because, literally just because it's, I wanted to get it exactly 90 degrees. Now this reminds me of one of the things that I want to tell you is when I do a layout, I'm very careful to lay it out in a way that the grain makes sense. So the grain on the plywood goes in this direction. And actually plywood is stronger in the long direction than it is in the, I guess the short direction. Just because of the way that the layers are oriented. It's going to be a little stiffer and stronger in that direction. All right, so then the last one, again, we've only got 3 unique parts for this design. And yeah, so let's try to actually get the orientation maybe set up first. Oh yeah, so I actually do want it like this, right? Because we want the grain to go along the length of the leg. Now, in this particular case, it's really just an aesthetic choice. It's just the way that I think it's going to look best when it's all said and done. It's not really about the strength of the end bench, at least not with the leg. I don't know why it's being so finicky. Why is it? I don't know why it did that. I'm a little bit confused why I just threw that over there, but we can, again, components, and we'll rotate around this axis here. Just grab that. Oh, I didn't even select the component, I guess. Oh, something's not happy. Let's try to save and see what's happening. All right, move. Component. Select this component. This axis. Right there. There we go. All right. Okay, so now there's 2 ways to do this at this point. We have we have the 3 unique parts that we need for our bench. We're down 1 leg. We actually need 2 legs, so we'll get to that in a second. But what you might think about now is I said I was going to cut 4 out of this piece of plywood. So how do we lay that out? There's, I think, probably at least 2 good ways to do it. One is we can put these parts however we want, and then we can do the cam on each part, and then we can actually copy the cam operation. And I might show that later. But the other way to do it, and the way that I think is a little better, is actually to just lay out all the parts and then do the cam on each individual part, because then we have a lot of control about the order in which we cut stuff out. So I think, in my personal opinion, that's the better way to do it. And a really good example of why we might want to do it that way is, let me, I guess the idea is like if this bench, if we have 4 of them all in a row, and we cut these little pockets out, and then we cut out the bench, right? That's one part. So we're doing the whole cam on one part, and then we're going to mirror it, or not mirror it, but copy it rather. The problem with that is, as we cut out these benches, we're cutting away a lot of the support material for cutting out other parts, because the bench itself is actually creating some of the structural rigidity to cut out the other parts. So what I would want to do is I would actually want to cut out all of the pockets on all of the benches, and then cut out the benches in a specific order so that I have the most stiffness possible in my plywood for every single part. And if that doesn't make sense to you right now, that's fine. Maybe we can talk about that in a little bit more advanced detail later. But suffice it to say, what I'm going to do is I'm going to copy the component. And I'm going to copy it in this direction here, along the sheet of plywood. Okay, but it says rotation. We actually want to translate and create a copy. Oh, you know what? I think maybe we don't want to do copies. Let's see if we have, do we have a pattern feature? Let's see. Pattern, yeah. So I would call it a linear pattern, but rectangular pattern is the language that they're using. All right, so we're going to capture the position because that is a feature in Fusion that's a little different from SolidWorks or other CAD programs, where actually you move stuff around and then it captures the position. I'm not going to get into the details of that right now. You can look it up. It's called capture position. Suffice it to say, right now, I just want to capture the position of where everything is at the moment. All right, so we're going to do this bench, and we're going to do it along, oh, it wants an axis, so we'll do it along that axis. Okay, so then the distance is going to be 12 inches. I'm confused about why that is not oh, okay, so here's, it's extent versus spacing. So we want spacing. And I guess we want 4 because it counts the original one. So here's what this will end up looking like. And I like to have a little bit more margin on the sides. It's going to be a little bit better to have it on the sides. So what we're going to do is we're going to call it, I don't know if 11 is going to work. That seems good. 11 looks good to me. All right, so now let's check. Again, we have a 1/4 inch router bit. So if we have space between here of 1 inch, so that's perfect. That means that we have a 1/4 inch cut, then there's going to be a 1/2 inch bridge, and then another 1/4 inch cut. This is where it gets a little bit tricky, right? Because maybe we don't want it like that. Maybe we actually want to have them really, really close, basically like a 1/4 inch in between each part, so we don't have to be spending a lot of time leaving these little bridges. You know, I'm not sure yet what makes the most sense. I'm not sure why I only updated one of those and not two of them. This is part of what is a little bit confusing to me about Fusion. I guess it's because I didn't capture this position. So maybe what we do here, let's see. It's a good idea to have a margin, right? So right now I'm about 1 inch off this side, and let's see, 1 inch, it's probably gonna be like 3 inches off this side, 3 or 4 inches. Yeah, let's call it 4 inches. Okay, so that's 5 inches total. So one of the things that might be worth doing is if we go back to here. I don't know why. Fusion confuses me sometimes. Okay, so here's the deal. We want to have an offset, but I don't actually really know how to do. I don't really know how to do an offset. All right, how about we move it, and we move it from let's say this part yeah, this is the part that I'm a little bit confused by with Fusion. So maybe what I should do is I should pause for a moment so I can figure out how to do this, and then come back and show you. Okay, so I have a solution, but I'm still not great at at this. So I'm going to use the align feature, and I'm going to align this face to this face. And I'm going to say, actually, we're not going to capture that yet. And then I'm going to align, this face to this face. This time I'm going to capture it. So you'll see down here on the timeline, I had that one capture position earlier. And now there should be a second one. So the capture position, I'll go over this right now. It basically moves parts around in the timeline, right? So the first one captured where I had moved them to, and then the second one captured this movement, and then we have the linear pattern. Excuse me. So now that I know that this is right here, what I can do is I can move the component, and I can go like this, and I can go like this. So, you know, maybe we'll go to 2.5 here, because that should be somewhere around the middle, and then 1 off that edge, and then we're going to capture position. Now, the part that I don't like about Fusion is that basically that move part is not in the timeline, right? So I just have 3 capture positions in a row with no features in between them. So if anybody knows a good way to do this, that basically I can capture the position, but then go back and edit it later, that would be super helpful. If you can just leave a comment in the description, or leave a comment on the video, that could be super helpful. But anyways, now it's where I want it for now. If I want to move it later, that could be a little bit of a pain, but we have 2.5 there and 2.5 here, right? Yeah, cool. So, and they're an inch off this end. So that's good. Yeah, so now let's do the same thing with this part. You know, I think right now we're a little over 1.5, and then this one is a little bit 1.3. So we got 1.5 inches between these parts. So let's again do it on a line here, here, and here, and then we'll do that again here and here, and then we'll move it in 1.5, and then we'll move it in 1.5 here. Oh, whoops. Again, so this is the problem, right? This is the problem with the fact that it's not in the feature tree. I can't go back and edit it. I have to go this way. So now I accidentally moved it 1.5 inches positive. I meant to move it 1.5 negative, so I'm going to move it 3 negative. Capture position. Yeah, but again, no feature in the timeline here for me to edit. Go back and edit later. Okay, so, but again, the cool thing is if I go back here, you know, they all go back to where they were before, so that's handy. I don't know why it has these dimensions here showing up. Again, I'm not super familiar with Fusion. There's a lot of little quirks that I'm not super good with. But anyways, here we go. Let's go and keep powering through. We will pattern this guy, a rectangular pattern. We have the components already selected. We're going to select the axis. Again, the same axis. And we are going to do 4 and 0, or 1. And then we're going to go spacing, what do you think, 6 inches? Does that make sense? Oh, that's way too much. 3, it's too little. 4, just right. It's the Goldilocks zone of spacing of this part. All right. Now, so you will see we have 4 benches. We have 4 braces. We have 1 leg. How many legs do we need? We need 8 legs because we need 8 legs because we have 2 legs per bench, and we're doing 4 legs, and 2 times 4 is 8. And what you will notice is I only have 1 here. So let's grab that bench leg, that second bench leg. Maybe I should have done this earlier. Actually, you know what? Let's do it earlier. Let's just do it earlier. Go all the way back to here. Now let's go to that first capture position because that one is kind of half decent. And we will bring in this leg. Now you may be wondering, Martin, why are you bringing in another leg instead of just copying the one that's already there? And I will tell you why. The reason is because I want to nest them together. And it's not a simple pattern to just nest them together. Like I have to do control click. That's the thing that I keep forgetting to do is control click. So this is how they're going to be nested together. Now this is the part that I'm currently struggling with is I don't know how to position these as offset, right? I don't know how to position them offset from each other. This is a little bit of a frustrating problem right now, because I can't easily I can't easily mate them in Fusion because I don't know how to do an offset. What is a drive joint? Okay, rotation angle. Okay, so we can lock them together. Um, all right. I guess let's just mate. Let's just mate. Align them like so. No, 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 no. No. Okay. Oof. Let's try this one. No? Okay. And then align to here. Why do you keep doing that? All right. Yeah. All right. Well, how far of a distance do we have here? Because we can kind of brute force this. This is. Oh, it thinks that there's an angle. Okay, that's cool. So, let's grab this point. 1.5 inches. Okay. What we're gonna do is we're just gonna, like I said earlier, brute force it. So we're gonna go 3/4 of an inch, negative 0.75, and then this way we have a little bit more room. This is gonna be an interesting conundrum. So part of the problem with having a 3/4 of an inch thing there is I'm gonna end up with this very thin stick, and maybe I'll just do it the way that I'll show you later. When we get there, I'll show you later. So this video is clearly just going to be a cut layout, and then we're going to have to do another video about actually cutting it out because we're already out of time. So again, we're doing a 1/4 inch bit. What I'm going to do is I'm going to do it's called 275. So what's going to happen is the router bit is going to cut a little bit off this face, and then when we do the other one, it's going to cut a little bit off this face. So it's the distance here is a little bit more than the width of the router bit. So we're, yeah, unfortunately it thinks there's an angle there. I don't know why. I addressed that in the last session. So if we're going to measure this distance, we have to grab the point, and it's 275. Okay, so now we can do this rigid group. All right, yeah, we're going to capture position. And we're going to do this one and this one. So now, okay. Yeah, all right, good. That worked. That worked reasonably well. So this is one bench leg. We go all the way to here again. So I wonder, because if we do yeah, I'll just capture the position right there. So if we do a linear pattern, it looks like I'm not going to be able to fit all of them there, right? But if we go like this, if we rotate this, you know, if we decide, hey, what if we want the legs, rather than going with the grain, what if we want them, oops, to go horizontal grain? Can we fit them all there? Let's try it. Let's, again, capture this position. Really a lot of position capturing. And then we do this pattern, this rectangular pattern. Do these two components. And we're going to go along this axis this time. Oopsie, not that axis. That's the wrong axis. And we're going to go it's probably like a little bit more than 12 inches, probably like 14, 13 even. Oops. We need 4. Do we get 4? No. So that also doesn't fit. So this is like the challenge, right? Is that you got to figure out how to get them all to fit. And that's actually okay that it doesn't fit like that, because I don't really love this layout anyways. I want the grain to go in the other direction. I did just notice that there's apparently this is down here. Who knows how this got here? I don't even remember why that's there, but we'll just delete it. So if we go back here, maybe what I can do is I can do another linear pattern. What I would love to do is I would love to be able to group this together and then just copy it into different locations. But I don't think that we have. I guess I could make this as one component. I could make this one part rather than 2 parts by editing the bench leg and doing kind of a copy of the leg. Maybe that's a good way to show how to do that. That's a good idea to show you guys. So I'll show you that in just a second, but first what I'm going to do is I'm going to do another pattern. We'll grab these two. We're going to go along this axis again, and we're going to go just 2, and this is just going to be 1. And then we'll go, I don't know, what is it, 18 inches? Yeah, something like that, 19. All right, so now we have those 2. Now what I think I can do is I might be able to fit a third one right here, and then I might be able to sneak in one on each up here. It's gonna be kind of tight. It's gonna be kind of tight, but maybe that'll work. I don't really have enough room to fit 2 more sets in here. So let me first show you guys what I'm talking about with doing it in a different way that's a little bit easier. Or maybe easier, maybe not. This is sort of a, you know, I would say like not the best workaround. But what we can do is we can grab our, this is a body because now we're in the component. We're going to copy this, and we're going to actually free move. We're going to create a copy, and we're first going to rotate it 180 degrees, move it, sure, 18. And so now we know, now we just got to figure out, this is probably 5.5. Oh no, 5.75. Yeah, weird. Okay. And then where did the 18 go? So again, like this is something I don't love about Fusion is that it just disappeared. The you know, the Y distance just disappeared. Just randomly is not there anymore. Um, let's see it. Let's see how that works. So now we look like this. This distance, again, it thinks it's a weird angle for some reason. That's 1/2 inch. So let's edit. Yeah, all these are set to 0. So why have it in the tree? Why have it in your timeline if it's all just gonna reset to 0? Okay, but we're gonna go like this, 1/2 inch. And then we're gonna edit it again because now I can do that thing where I get the not -1, -0.275. Cool. Now, so here's the thing, right? Like, we're gonna go back to our bench assembly, and the bench assembly is gonna be like, whoa, you need to refresh, and now you have this weird leg thing here. So it's not a very good way to solve this particular problem. Because of that, I can always suppress this feature, and then I can save it. And then if I go back here, it'll be gone. And then I come back here, and I can say unsuppress it because now I want it. So you'll find that sometimes you'll have features at the very end of your timeline at the bottom that you'll suppress and unsuppress depending on what you're trying to do. I think one of the nice things about SolidWorks, and I'm not sure if Fusion has it or not, is I could make a configuration of this component. So I could make a configuration that has that feature suppressed and unsuppressed. And then the bench assembly would use the one configuration, and the cut layout would use the other configuration, and it's all one part. I don't know if that's a thing that exists in Fusion right now. I just haven't worked with it enough. So now we're gonna reload the part, and yeah, you can see that we have all of those legs. Okay, so obviously this makes some other stuff sort of no longer relevant, right? Get rid of this. Get rid of this pattern. And if we go back, I don't remember where I added that second part. Where did I add that second part? Was it this one? No. Oh, I just added it, huh? Okay. Yeah, delete all of them. Okay. So now it's here, right? Now we have this one. And let's just see. Let's just see if we can get this to lay out in a good way. 90. We'll call that good for now. Enter. I want to do this. So what I've been realizing is that I have to control click for some reason to get it to actually be happy. So just so everybody's aware, I'm pressing control and clicking. Now I think the other thing is I could potentially get these to stack like this, and then mirror it and maybe get a tighter nest there, but I think in this particular case it really just makes sense to do it like this. Okay. Because we're a little bit tighter on the I don't know, the width or whatever, rather than the, not a line, joint. All right, so click, and then control click. What is it doing? Control click. Weird. Okay, and then you go over here. And it's going to be somewhere around there. Oof. It's not a lot of space, huh? So this is going to be the part where we have to start figuring out design changes to make everything fit on one sheet of plywood. Probably. We might not be there yet. Does one of these fit up here? No. Oh, wait a second. If I have that there, and in reality I need to actually flip it the other way, but I can do that. Let's go back. So the reason, let's go back to here. All right, I'm almost out of time. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to try to, actually this one is correctly oriented. So if we go up here like this, we bring this down here like that, right? And we do capture position. And we have that, yeah, is this gonna work? Not with other capture positions. This has gotta go. This one's gotta go. And maybe. Stay over here. Okay, just give me a second. Go over here, and then you come over here. Let's get the fourth one, right? Because we still need one more. And it's got to be rotated in the other direction. All right, so what I'm gonna do is do my last, I don't even know, like, so the reason I'm doing a joint here rather than just moving and aligning is because I do like to have them basically so that they can slide around on the surface. I can just click and drag like that. All right, so this is it. Solved, boom, done. I mean, it's not done, but basically, you know, we definitely can get this to be right up against the edge if we need it to be, and this already is fitting, so we have plenty of margin. So yeah, so this is sort of you know, this is kind of how you have to think when you do these layouts. So I think, what did I do? I went back here. Is it this one? If we just go a little bit further down like that. Actually, you can go away. Oh, no, I need that one. This is really messy, having all these capture positions. It's just a very messy way to do it. I didn't do it earlier, so that's why I have to reposition these again. Sort of wish that Sort of wish that Fusion would just automatically know that when I move something, I want it to stay there. Okay, so now we do capture position. So yeah, so that's basically time. We're basically out of time now. So final way of getting these things into a really, really nice spot is literally what I did earlier, where I would do the align the part like this, you know, align the edge here, click OK, and then align the edge here. I'm just going to go through it really quick so that you can kind of see how I'm going to do it. I don't know why it does that, but there we go. And then we move, right? We move this component. An inch is fine. We don't need to be super precise with these movements. So that's a great spot for that. Now the thing that we can do is we can grab this one and we can actually just say you are pinned. The other thing is now that this one is locked in place, I can do, you know, it actually goes a little bit quicker for this one because I can align this edge to this edge rather than having to do that same thing that I did earlier where I aligned it and then moved it. And then we align this to this and then move this. So then this one is only going to be moving. When you zoom in, it goes in smaller increments, which is a nice feature. Let's go in an inch. So that, you know, these two are basically locked in place now. This one is going to be a little bit trickier to get exactly where I want. I mean, ideally it's centered. What would that be? 24 inches maybe? Yeah, 24, 48. So yeah, well, I'll just show that quickly, how I might do that. So many capturings of positions. So we'll go off this face. We'll go 24. So this is going to be what you call construction geometry or construction plane. Now this is basically the center line off this edge. So in theory, if I put the exact center line of this, it's clearly offset a little bit. So maybe we don't do that. Maybe we do 23 instead of 24. And then we can measure. Let's measure this. What is this distance? All right. Why is it not giving me a distance? Plane to point. It's not showing my little measure distance, but it's called measure there 4.975, so it's almost 5 inches. And then this one is inspect 3.97, so half an inch. It's half an inch off. So then we go edit feature 23.5 is going to be kind of the natural center line of these sets of components. And that is based off of the distance from this component to the bench top, this leg to the bench top, and then this leg to the edge of the plywood. So then what we can do is we can just go to the top. We can literally just drag this until it looks good, somewhere around there. And we should be able to do on a line of this plane to this. I don't know why it keeps flipping it. We call OK, and then we do an align of this face to this face. We go OK, and then we move, and we move it an inch. And then this one, you know, it looks like an inch works. We really only have to do half an inch because we're going to do it on both sides. Let's call that just to sort of split the difference. Let's go 7.5. Let's go 3/4 of an inch. And then what we can do is we can ground this one, and it's going to ask us to capture the position. And then we modify, align this to this. Now, you know, the reality is we don't actually even have to go through all of this sort of ultra precise alignment of parts. But I like to, because then I know exactly how far apart they are from each other. I know that I have my tool paths, my tool spacing really good. So if you remember correctly, we did it, it's basically going to be 3/4 times 2, which is 1.5. And then this one can be grounded. That's going to say capture position. You know, and then do I want to get precise with this? Why not, right? Probably because it's a pain in the butt. These parts in the middle, these legs, you know, they don't really need to be as precisely aligned. And maybe what's going to happen is when we go to do the tool path, I will look at it and say, hey, like, actually it needs to be a little bit gapped off further here or less there. So I'm going to leave that for the next session. So yeah, so it's a little bit weird, right? Because yeah, maybe what I'll do is well, anyways, I think I did this a little bit out of order, right? Because I did the tool selection first, but I guess that makes sense, right? Even though we didn't really get into the nitty-gritty of tool pathing at all yet. This is just the cut layout. How I have the parts laid out on the plywood to cut out. But it's okay that I talked about the router bit at the beginning because that drives the layout, right? So that drives the design and drives the layout. So I'm going to leave that in this video because it kind of just makes sense. I already did it. Maybe I can do a quick review again for the next video, which is going to be the toolpath layout or the toolpath video. But you know, we're out of time right now. We're actually a little bit over time. So I'm going to call it. So this is the how to lay out parts on a sheet of plywood. And you know what? I think I'm actually going to re-record the intro because I already kind of messed it up and I had to cut it into 2 videos anyways. So I'll just re-record the intro and then I'll save the router bit discussion for later. So anyways, if you like this video, feel free to you know, hit that like button. Please hit the like button. It helps me out. If you want to see more videos like this, go ahead and hit the subscribe button. I'm going to try to do a series of these design videos and maybe do more design stuff in the future. These sort of layout videos, maybe I don't need to make a whole bunch of these. Kind of you get the gist. If there's a part that's particularly tricky in the future, maybe I'll do a little expose on that. But for the most part, you know, once you know how to lay out, once you have a method for laying out components of your design, then that's it, right? This is pretty straightforward. So without dilly-dallying that much longer, yeah, go ahead and hit that like and subscribe button, and I will talk to you again soon. Thanks. Bye.